Good morning, and thank you for being here. Yesterday morning, APD officers responded to a Public Safety Assist Code 3 call at Club Rodeo, located at 9515 North Lamar Boulevard. Upon arrival, officers located a deputy in the parking lot suffering from severe traumatic injuries. The officers immediately began life-saving measures. He was transported to a local hospital where he died of those injuries. Our officers began crime scene management, gathering evidence, and speaking to witnesses. Due to the deputy's death, the investigation was transferred to the APD Homicide Unit. That homicide unit, along APD Air Support, APD K9, and Texas Department of Public Safety, relentlessly exhausted every resource to identify those responsible for this murder. As leads were developed, APD took quick action in coordination with other partner agencies. By early afternoon at approximately 3:45 p.m. on Sunday, January 4th, 2026, the suspect was identified and later apprehended by the U.S. Marshals Lone Star Fugitive Task Force that consists of APD officers. I want to thank every agency and every individual who worked with urgency, professionalism, and determination to bring this investigation to the arrest of Mr. Thomas Venice. Your commitment, without a doubt, reflects the very best of all of us. Charges include capital murder of a peace officer. Venice does have an extensive criminal record, which include the following convictions. You'll see that on the screen. I also want to acknowledge that I am aware of the ongoing safety concerns surrounding Club Rodeo. APD leadership is working with on a legal and a comprehensive strategy to address the public safety concerns there. I will keep the community updated in the process and the progress as we move forward. Most importantly, I want to say how devastating the murder of Deputy Aaron Armstrong is for our community. I want to acknowledge our brothers and sisters with the Caldwell County Precinct 3 Constable's Office. When one of our own is taken, the weight of that loss is felt across the entire law enforcement community. But I want you to know that you are not walking this alone. Together we will move forward with purpose. Now I'd like to invite Sergeant Steve O. with the Caldwell County Precinct 3 Constable's Office to say a few words. Sergeant.
Thank you, Chief. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I messed yours up.
No, that's all right.
Thank you, Chief Davis and the Austin Police Department for inviting us here for this press release. My name is Steve O. I'm the sergeant with the Caldwell County Precinct 3 Constable's Office. It's a very hard day, and we're all absolutely heartbroken over the loss of our deputy, Aaron Armstrong. We'd like to thank our fellow law enforcement partners and public safety partners, the Austin Fire Department, Austin Travis County EMS, and the Delaware Seton Medical Center, who did everything they could do to try and save his life. We also like to thank the Austin Police Department for all their efforts in the quick apprehension of the suspect. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you, Sergeant. I appreciate it. Now I would like to invite Sergeant Jeff Bazon to talk about the details of this investigation. Sergeant?
On Sunday, January 4th, 2026 at 2:08 a.m., 911 received calls reporting a peace officer had been shot outside Club Rodeo, located at 9515 North Lamar Boulevard. Multiple agencies, including the Austin Police Department, the Austin Fire Department, and Austin Travis County EMS, responded and located Deputy Constable Armstrong with trauma to his person. First aid was initiated by officers and medical personnel, and Deputy Constable Armstrong was rushed to Del Seton Hospital. Despite life-saving efforts of the medical staff, Deputy Constable Armstrong was pronounced deceased at 6:39 a.m. Deputy Constable Armstrong was working security at the nightclub, a location where he had worked for a number of years. Investigators from the aggravated assault unit began an initial investigation. Investigators from the homicide unit would later assume the investigation after the passing of Deputy Constable Armstrong. Deputy Constable Armstrong was wearing his body-worn camera at the time of the incident. Through the video and witness statements, it was learned at approximately 1:59 a.m., Deputy Constable Armstrong assisted in removing a male from the nightclub after an altercation with non-law enforcement security. During his escort from the club, Deputy Constable Armstrong attempted to de-escalate and calm the subject despite multiple threats from the individual to others on scene. The subject began pulling away from Deputy Constable Armstrong and eventually pushed Deputy Constable Armstrong before fleeing into the parking lot. During this interaction, Deputy Constable Armstrong had identified himself as police and warned the subject he would be arrested. At 2:07 a.m., the individual was observed by Deputy Constable Armstrong to still be in the parking lot of the nightclub. Deputy Constable Armstrong approached the group surrounding the subject and asked if they were departing the area. The subject re-engaged Deputy Constable Armstrong and began screaming at him. Deputy Constable Armstrong advised the subject he would place the subject under arrest and attempted to effect this arrest. Multiple other parties present obstructed the path of Deputy Constable Armstrong. At this point in time, a handgun was produced and Deputy Constable Armstrong was shot. After taking cover from additional gunfire, Deputy Constable Armstrong returned fire before falling unconscious. Based upon efforts of investigation of the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force and the available evidence on scene, a suspect was identified. This suspect was determined to be Thomas Vences, a 38-year-old Hispanic male. Surveillance was initiated at multiple locations, and Vences was later arrested by the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force for an unrelated felony warrant. Vences was interviewed by detectives and admitted involvement in the shooting of Deputy Constable Armstrong. Vences was charged with capital murder of a peace officer. After the shooting, an acquaintance of Vences entered his vehicle to leave the scene. While driving away, Deputy Constable Armstrong's extremity was run over by the acquaintance. The driver was later identified as Ronaldo Colindres Simon, 22 years of age. He was charged with assault on a peace officer. To reiterate, Deputy Constable Armstrong was wearing clothing that identified himself as a police officer and had also verbally identified himself as a police officer to Thomas Vences during the previous interaction. The homicide unit is requesting anyone with any evidence, such as pictures or videos, to submit them through the Capital Area Crime Stoppers program by calling 512-472-8477. This case is being investigated as Austin's third homicide of 2026. Our condolences go out to the family of Deputy Constable Armstrong, as well as his coworkers at the Caldwell County Constable's office during this time of mourning. We'll now open it up to any questions.
Either of the arrests here, were those one of those the person who was asked to leave Club Rodeo, or were they just involved in the group outside that was asked to leave?
You're speaking of the subject who entered his vehicle to drive away?
Well, because I noticed you were talking about a subject that had been asked to leave the club. Was that one of the persons arrested, or was that another person who was involved with those two?
That was Vences,
Okay.
the suspect.
He was the one in the club, and then later in the group outside, Keith Vences was in the club and outside the club.
That's correct.
Just trying to put those together.
For either the chief or the detective, we're hearing the suspect had a lengthy criminal history. Can you elaborate and speak to that? What exactly does that point to, criminal history?
Did we have that slide up? Were those just his convictions? Just his convictions. And I believe he had 4, was it 4 felony warrants?
I believe so. I know he had at least a couple burglary convictions, I think some assault convictions. And then some narcotics convictions there at the bottom.
On that same note, we did also hear he might have had some dealings with ICE. We're wondering if you know his legal status or anything like that.
No, we don't know his legal status.
Police put their bodies on the line every time they go out into the field. When something like this happens, what does that impact leave for departments, directly with that officers and other ones who are responding like APD in this case?
Yeah, it's anger. I'm extremely angry to watch this and to watch this video of him being executed. He was executed by this man who knew he was a cop, knew he was a police officer, and he did it. And so to think about what this family goes through as law enforcement, Caldwell, the precinct here, precinct 3, there all night from at 2:30 in the morning, there all night until his body's transferred to the ME's office. And so it is a process that is heartbreaking, and everybody in this city. A police officer was killed in the city of Austin, in my city. And that's how we should feel about this. It is unacceptable. He was murdered, he was executed in that parking lot of that club.
I know you said something about increasing security in the area, but what does that really mean? Especially since it is a place where a lot of Hispanics go almost every weekend. Are we thinking about some things that are going to change in terms of...
So listen, I have no doubt that the people that go to this club, the majority of them are law-abiding people that want to come and have a good time. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we're going to start looking at the places. We know that we are a department that is data-driven and we use evidence-based science to address where we're going to be going. If I have a homicide of a police officer there, I have other shootings that occurred later in the year of 2025, that is a location that needs some attention. Now, whether it's the environmental design of how the space is made up, what is it looking like? So it's really taking a look at these locations that are causing this trouble and how do we address it. Okay.
Thank you.